Yo, family, what's up, man? It's your boy Deon Lundy. Look, let me ask you something. Are you a Christian? Are you sick of all this political and cultural confusion going on in our country? I mean, turning the blacks against the whites, and the whites against the blacks, and the blacks against the cops, and the cops against the blacks, and the men against the women, and the women against the men. I mean, everybody just hates everybody. I'm sick of that. And if you feel the same way, look, I promise, you are not alone. There are millions of Christians who feel exactly the way you do. But see, not all of them speak out because you kind of get kicked in the head when you do. But you know, man, it's time for us to just put on our helmets, man, and get in the fight, man, because, I mean, this world is, I mean, it's going downhill quick. Look, man, we got a lot to talk about. And if you know me, you know, I'm gonna keep it real. So yeah, man, the first episode of the Deon Lundy Show is finally here.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's get it.
It's the Deon Lundy Show. Don't act like you don't know. Trying to keep it real. So I'm just trying to keep it real. So much we gotta say. So much I gotta say. What's happening today? I'ma let you know just how I feel. Just how I feel. The Deon Lundy Show.
For every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, will be able to join hands and sing in the way of the only Negro spirit. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty.
Yeah, so what's up, man? Okay, so for those who don't know me, my name is Deon Lundy, and I'm a Christian. In this video, I want to tell you who I am and what I believe. I want to tell you the basic foundation that guides all of my beliefs. Because if you agree with that foundation, you're going to find that you and I agree on the majority of issues. Now, we may not agree on everything, but we're going to agree on most things. Now, if you find that you disagree with these fundamental issues, you're going to find that you will disagree with mostly everything that I will ever say in any video. And look, that's okay. I've spent years talking to people from various faiths. I mean, atheism, Muslims, Buddhists, Satanists. I mean, I've spoken with everybody. I have honestly looked at almost all world religions, at least all major world religions, and I have found and concluded that Christianity is truly just the most reasonable faith out there, because in some form or fashion the other faiths, they fall short either in reason or in morality. Now, I know that may not make a lot of sense right now, but I'm going to explain all that later video, but that's not the point of this video. I believe that there is a God, but unlike other religions, I don't believe that God is just some blob of energy floating around in space that doesn't care about anything and doesn't even know it exists. To me, that's unreasonable. I believe that the God who made us is a very specific and intelligent being. And this same God created all things. Everything that we see, not just on earth, but everything in the universe, from the stars to the sun to the moon, he made everything and he placed it in its specific location. I honestly just find it hard to believe. In fact, I believe it's quite extravagant to believe that we are just in the perfect place of the sun. We're not too close that we burn up, but we're not so far away that we freeze. It's just like we're just smack dab in the perfect spot. I don't believe that's by accident. Yeah, and I know, in the scientific community, they want to tell you that, we evolved over the course of millions of years and we came from the monkeys and the apes and the chimps and blah, 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 blah.
Do you see a possible resemblance? I don't.
In the scientific community, they want to tell you that, we evolved over the course of millions of years and we came from the monkeys and the apes and the chimps and blah, 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 blah. But, we just happen to be special, that's why, we're humans and the chimps are still chimps.
What?
Richard Dawkins, who hates creationists, said, "It is absolutely safe to say that if you meet someone who claims not to believe in evolution, that person is ignorant, stupid, or insane, or wicked." Well, Richard, let's send you a copy of this tape, because I'm going to show you 100 reasons why evolution is so stupid. One of my hobbies for many years, I have been collecting science books. I like science. And you can ask any of my kids or ask my wife, when I get bored, which isn't too often around our place, I just read science books. I like science. Taught it for 15 years. Even though I'm not teaching it anymore, I still like to study. It's so many neat things to learn. And there's an awful lot of good science in these books. But folks, there are some lies in our science books. I'm not against science, I'm not against schools, I'm not against teachers. My brother's in his 34th year teaching public school. My mom retired from teaching public school. There's an awful lot of good godly teachers in the system. But there's some poison in these books. We're going to cover some of that tonight.
I don't believe that mankind formed over the course of billions of years through slime and all that kind of stuff. Because honestly, when you examine even atheism from a critical perspective, it doesn't hold water. But that's not the point of this video. I believe that there is a God who specifically designed this world and everything in this universe. And that same God, out of all world religions, is the only God who has professed and shown his love for mankind by sending his only son to die for us. That is what I believe. But we can't talk about God without talking about the things that God loves and the things that God hates. God loves righteousness, justice, and mercy. God hates wickedness and evil, that which is wrong. But see, most of us live in a society where we're being taught that there's no real such thing as right or wrong. Those are just societal opinions. Like, I know this is big in naturalism and in atheism. You know, there is no God, so there can't really be right or wrong. There's only societal opinion. I don't believe that. I believe that good and evil are not opinions. They are not societal constructs that every society makes up on its own and decides to live by. I don't believe that to be true. Let me give an example. Rape is wrong. It's not my opinion that rape is wrong. No. Rape is wrong. It doesn't matter what city you're in, what state you are in, what country you are in, or what planet you are on. Rape is wrong. Word. See, when you concede that there is no God, you can't really say that rape is wrong because that's just your opinion. See, it's not until you can reference some type of absolute authority, such as God, that you can say something is a fact. But other than that, everything is just a blind opinion, the opinion of man.
Moral relativism is the idea that there is no universal or absolute set of moral principles. It's a version of morality that advocates to each her own, and those who follow it often say, "Who am I to judge?" Moral relativism is on the opposite end of the continuum from moral absolutism, which says that there is always one right answer to any ethical question. Indeed, those who adhere to moral relativism would say, when in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Moral relativism is to view moral judgments are only true or false relative to a specific standpoint. This would mean something may be right in India, but wrong in America. Something may be right to you, but wrong to me. No standpoint is said to be privileged or better than any other. All views would be equally valid. Unlike non-cognitivism, moral relativism accepts moral claims are true or false, but simply doesn't claim they would be objectively true or false. Truth is decided on different levels by different individuals or cultures or ethnic groups. In popular culture, this appears to have become a dominant view. We often hear people preface statements with, "Well, I personally believe this," or say things like, "It feels right to me," and "We all need to figure out what is true for each of us." These are symptoms of a culture that has been founded on moral relativistic views.
Can you hear me? Yes, sir. Let's leave aside Christianity and historical examples for a second. All night you guys have been grappling with issues like morality and, what is right, what is wrong, and meaning. But my question is simply, why are you so afraid of subjective moral reasoning? I mean, do you think that we're all just going to start raping and pillaging just because we don't have a book to tell us what to do? I mean, are you afraid of that? Like, I'm not, because that's not going to happen. And that, yeah, Nazis were bad, but there were Christian Nazis and there were atheist Nazis. So I don't see, what are you so afraid of?
Do you lock your door at night?
Yeah. Sure.
I hear what you're saying. Sounds very cavalier, though. My goodness. If we weren't afraid of all of this, we would not be in a national debt. The billions...
China is secular.
Sorry?
China is secular.
Sorry?
China is secular.
That's right. What does that mean?
I mean, they're not raping and pillaging, and neither are we.
Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. Have you read what happened during the Red Guards Rebellion? Have you read what happened during the Boxer Rebellion? Do you know who has killed more people in the 20th century than China and Russia? 60 million apiece? Wow. It makes the Holocaust seem tame. The 20th century became the bloodiest century in history. And the reason it became the bloodiest century in history, I can see, is you could just see the weapons of our warfare were piling up, and there was no guiding principle to take us anywhere. Now, in a perfect world, yes, we don't need to be afraid. Have you seen what happens in our courts of law, where people supposedly love each other, and all that comes about in hate and vitriol and damage? I don't think the question is fairly stated as what are you afraid of. I'm just saying it is basically unlivable. I didn't conclude that. An atheist like Jean-Paul Sartre concluded it. We killed more people in the 20th century than the previous 19 put together. And your question is, what are we afraid of? The fact of the matter is, if morality is purely subjective, then you have absolutely nothing from stopping anybody for being a subjective moralist to choose to just zing one through your forehead and say, that's my answer. How do you stop that? Obviously, you don't believe that's the way it should be. No, neither do I. So it's not a case of what am I afraid of. It's a case of the fact that if you're willing to say to me that moral reasoning can be purely subjective, I just say to you, look out, you ain't seen nothing yet if everybody believed what you did. So subjective morality would be very good if we all wanted to be nice people and live around each other without any fear of each other. But the reason you lock your doors, and the reason we have our police, and the reason we have our military, and the reason we have our law courts is because when subjective morality becomes totally subjectivized, this is what happens in society. So it's a great idea, but I hope nobody absorbs it.
This is the point. See, when you cannot reference the absolute authority of God, you have nothing to stand on. You don't have a leg to stand on in regards to any form of morality. But see, now if you say, no, rape is wrong because God commands that we love our neighbor as ourselves and that we do unto others as we would have them do unto us. That's what God commands. See, God is the absolute authority. Someone once said, you can't call a line crooked if you don't know what a straight line looks like. And like usually when I press people who say they don't believe in God about what is right or what is wrong, they continually call the line crooked while claiming that they don't know what a straight line looks like. You know what a straight line looks like because as it pertains to morality, God is our straight line. So yeah, look, if you take away nothing else, take away this. Without God, there is no morality. It is impossible. I mean, and anybody who says otherwise is heavily mistaken. They're heavily mistaken because everything is socio-biological. It's just a matter of what society thinks. Well, this group of people thinks this, so according to that group of people, that is okay. Now, you can't talk about morality without including justice, because justice and morality go hand in hand. First, we must be able to recognize that which is good and evil, and once we recognize that which is good and evil, we must now be able to respond to that good and evil. If it's evil, we respond to stop it. If it's good, we respond to encourage it. One thing that you need to understand about humans is that we are inherently justice-seeking creatures. Let me ask you this. What creature do you know will actually spend 10 years planning just to get revenge? There's no other creature that would do something like that. Because humans, we are justice-seeking creatures. Now, sometimes it's possible for our sense of justice to be warped. But even when our sense of justice is warped, we're still seeking that justice. It's just that our perception of what is right is messed up. But one thing you cannot deny is that we inherently seek justice. And the reason for that, I would argue, is because we were made in the likeness of the living God, who himself is a justice-seeking being. The Bible tells us that God loves justice, but he hates wickedness. Now, I know some people may be asking, well, if he created all things, why are things so bad? That's like a basic question that almost everyone asks. If God is so loving, why are things so bad? I can tell you in one phrase: free will. Most of you have been to church at some point, so I'm sure you're familiar with the biblical account of creation. God created man, and he made woman from the rib of the man, and then he placed them in the garden, and then the serpent came and deceived them and caused them to eat from the tree and disobey God, and at that point things went down. But see, one question that some people ask is, well, why did God put the tree there to begin with? The answer again is simple: free will. Think about this. When God made Adam, he made him in his perfect form. Meaning his natural tendency was to do that which was right in God's eyes, because that was the way that God made him. God made him with a natural tendency to go in the right path. But see, let me ask you this. What if Adam didn't want to go in the right path? What if Adam didn't like God, or he wanted to do his own thing, or wanted to disobey God, how could he have done that if God had not given him the option to do so? So the tree in the garden, it wasn't a magical tree. Like some people, they talk about, the magical tree in the garden, this special fruit over out in Africa that, if you find it there and eat it, you live. I mean, it's just nonsense, just madness. But it wasn't a magical tree. It was just the option. The tree represented something. It represented the option for man to choose to go his own way, to go in a way contrary to the way that God wanted him to go. Because had God not placed the tree there, then it would be physically impossible for Adam to disobey God, even if he wanted to, because God gave no command. And according to Adam's natural nature, he would have already just did exactly what God wanted. He would have walked upright. But see, God loves mankind so much that he gave us the option. Think about that. I mean, think about it in the natural. It's not really a choice if you don't offer the negative. That's like, if I walk up to a woman and I say, hey, do you want to get married or do you want to get married? That's not really a choice, because, you have to have the negative. But if I say, hey, do you want to get married or do you want to not get married? Now you have the choice. Did God want Adam to disobey? Of course not. That's not what he wanted. But God loved him enough to give him that option. God told Adam, hey, look, don't eat from the tree, because if you eat from the tree, you will die. And that death basically symbolized everything bad that we hate about the world now. All the problems, the hate, the murder, the killing, and yeah, I could go in more detail, but that's not the point of this video. That's just a brief overview for those who may be a little unfamiliar with the story. But yeah, God loved mankind so much that he gave us the freedom to make our own choices, even bad choices. Some of you may be parents, and as a parent, you know that you want your children to make the best choices in life, but you understand you can't put a chain around their neck and make the choices for them, because that's not right. At least not till they become of age. I know some parents, you're kind of young. Yeah, your parent is your guardian or whatever. But anyway, I digress. Okay, so yeah, I know I've said a lot, but let me tell you how this relates to today. Today, we are living in a world that has forgotten God. And because they have forgotten God, morality itself has been disintegrated and perverted in their minds. We're living in a time where people call good evil and evil good. If you're a man and you decide you want to change your gender, oh, you're a hero, you're so brave, you're so brave. But if you are a man who wants to be the husband, son, father that God has called you to be, you're some type of homophobic bigot because you don't want to kiss a transgender man.
India Willoughby asked Genuine, would you go out with a transsexual woman? Honest question, led to a nice, healthy conversation. In fact, let's listen to some of the conversation and listen to where it went left. Let's throw the celebrity Big Brother to hear what happened.
Would you go out with a transsexual woman?
I think I don't know. Personality for me is this. I mean, it's easy to say.
See, for me, this is the problem, because I feel that a lot of guys would not go out with somebody like me, even though I'm a woman, because they would.
I think that we live in such a binary world where people think there's two options of gay and straight, and I think they think, I'm having sex with a woman who's trans,
the world's a buffet,
therefore I'm gay, and I think that's why these conversations are important.
And then I believe it's your choice too. Like I would choose not to. Like that doesn't make me but scared.
You would go out with another woman.
Would I go out with a woman?
You would go out with a woman.
Yes, of course.
But you wouldn't go out with a transsexual woman.
No.
I'm a woman, right?
Okay.
Forget about any T's or anything in front of it. I'm just a woman, okay? So on that score, you would date me, wouldn't you?
Not if you told me you was trans.
No, I'm not telling you I'm trans. I'm a woman.
A woman, yeah. A woman.
You would date me then.
Woman, yeah.
Go on, let's have a kiss. You see, and I think
he's just not that into it.
I think.
Now here's the thing, Genuine is getting all kinds of backlash, people calling him transphobic. I don't think he was being transphobic at all.
An experienced Christian doctor, due to take on a key civil service role, has had his contract terminated for saying that gender is determined by biology. I said that I had a problem with this. I believe that gender is defined by biology and genetics, and that as a Christian, the Bible teaches us that God made humans male or female. Shortly after saying he would refer to transsexual patients in accordance with their biological sex, he was deemed unfit to work. Dr. Makareth was disappointed by the decision to terminate his contract, saying it was an attack on his freedom of speech. He also said he feared for other professional people of faith who hold to the same biblical standpoint.
Look, if you are a Christian, I have to warn you. If you actually believe the things that are in the Bible and the things that God says, you are labeled as some type of evil person. And that's just the culture that we live in. But when you think about it, this is really nothing new. Look back to the prophets. I mean, all the prophets. The real prophets were always demonized and thrown in jail and killed. Jesus spoke about that, how they would say, you know, if we were back there, you know, we wouldn't kill the prophets, but then they turn around and kill the prophets. They turn around and persecute the people of God. I mean, the same thing is going on today. You have the Christians who follow Jesus, and then you have the Christians who don't. Okay, these aren't really Christians, but they call themselves Christian, and they kind of masquerade as Christian. They go to church on Sundays, and they sing in the choir and all that kind of stuff, but they don't follow Christ. That's the point. And you can tell, see, anybody can be a Christian when the organ going and, you know, everything is high and, you know, hey, you know what I'm talking about. My God, I feel turn around. See, anybody can be a Christian when the organ going and, you know, everything is high and, you know, hey, you know what I'm talking about. Anybody can be a Christian, you know, when things are good. But see, what happens when you get out into the culture and the culture tells you, hey, your Bible is wrong. Your Bible is transphobic or homophobic or what have you. Because that is the true test of what you believe. And yeah, there are some people who stand, but there are a lot of people who cave. That's the truth. Look, man, I told y'all, we got a lot to talk about. But to all Christians, look, no matter who you are, I want to say this, man. Look, make up your mind now because, man, you are living in a time. I mean, like, you are seriously living in a time of pressing. So settle in your mind right now, you know what? I believe God. You know, I'm going to follow Jesus. You know, I don't care. I don't care what people think. I don't care what society thinks. I don't care what the culture thinks. I'm going to follow Jesus and I'm going to follow God and his word. Because what we have now, we have a lot of people who want to follow God in certain areas, but not all areas. But Jesus said, if you are not willing to forsake all and just to follow me, you're not worthy of me. So stop picking and choosing when you're going to take God's side. Take God's side on every issue. Because a person who will only take God's side sometimes is lukewarm. Jesus said, either you're on my side or you're not. Either you're with me or against me. If you're not helping me pick it up, then you might as well be throwing it down. If you're not willing to let go of your culture or your heritage or your political views or whatever, if you're not willing to let that go just to follow me, then you are not worthy of me. And look, I don't know about you, but I want to be worthy. I know it's not popular. I know you're going to lose friends. People are going to unfriend you on Facebook, unfollow you on Twitter and Instagram and everything else. And they're going to talk about you. They're going to call you a Bible thumper because you actually believe what the Bible says. We're living in a time where it's okay to be a Christian as long as you don't actually believe that, you know, as long as you don't actually believe that stuff. Like, do you believe that Jesus walked on water? That's physically impossible. It's okay to be a Christian. I'm just saying, be a Christian, but don't believe nothing, you know, none of the stuff that's actually in the Bible. Don't actually believe it. Just take it as nice stories, you know. Take it as a general guideline, you know, like a Eastern proverb, but don't take it literally. Do you believe that God rose him from the dead? That is ridiculous. Now, it's okay to be a Christian. I'm not saying you can't be a Christian. I'm just saying if you're a Christian and you believe that, you're retarded. Do you actually believe that God speaks to you? Do you actually believe that God will speak to you? Hold on, you sound like you might be mentally ill. You ain't got no weapons, do you?
I don't know if I want that. It's one thing to talk to Jesus. It's another thing when Jesus talks to you.
Exactly. Okay, well, that's different.
She know what time it is.
That's different.
That's different. That's called mental illness, if I'm not correct. No, it's illness. That's called mental illness, if I'm not correct. I'm hearing voices.
Do you actually believe that God speaks to you? Do you actually believe that God will speak to you? Hold on, you sound like you might be mentally ill. You ain't got no weapons, do you? I mean, this is the time that we are living in. This is the time that we're living in. So yeah, look, if you are a Christian, I want to say this. Take God's side on every issue. Stop getting sucked into this political and cultural hurricane. If you can get a man's emotions, if you can get a man's heart, you can cause him to go astray. But see, God, the Bible tells us don't lean on your own understanding because the heart is deceitfully wicked. Listen, your heart, let's just be real, your heart will lead you straight to hell. It will lead you to a place you don't want to be because emotions are deceitful. But see, God's word, his word is stable. See, God said heaven and earth gonna pass away, but my word will not pass away. Heaven and earth will pass away one day. I don't care how many spaceships they make. I don't care how many space stations they try to put out in the universe and go live on other planets. They can try all that, but it don't matter. This universe will not abide forever, and God has already told us that.
Strap yourselves in. We're going to Mars. Not just a few astronauts. Thousands of people are going to colonize Mars, and I am telling you that they're going to do this soon. Some of you will end up working on projects on Mars, and I guarantee that some of your children will end up living there. Why the heck should we do this? We are incredibly vulnerable to the whims of our own galaxy. A single large asteroid could take us out forever. To survive, we have to reach beyond the home planet. Think what a tragedy it would be if all that humans have accomplished were suddenly obliterated. And there's another reason we should go. Exploration is in our DNA.
Heaven and earth will pass away one day. I don't care how many spaceships they make. I don't care how many space stations they try to put out in the universe and go live on other planets. They can try all that, but it don't matter. This universe will not abide forever, and God has already told us that. But do you know what will abide forever? God's word and those who obey it. So yeah, man, look, to anybody who professes to be a Christian, look, I want to say this. Come in the house. Come in the house and let's talk. See, right now you have a lot of people that are out in the streets, you know, and they focused on every issue except the most important issue. They're trying to solve every problem except the most important problem. What is the most important problem? The most important problem is that people don't know Jesus. Racism is an issue, but that's not the most important problem. Yeah, gender equality may be an issue, but that's not the most important problem. The most important problem is that people don't know Jesus. Because when you know Jesus, you're going to automatically solve all these other problems. You're going to solve these other problems. You're not going to have racism because you're going to love your brother. You're going to love your neighbor as yourself. You're going to have gender equality because you're going to do unto others as you would have done unto you. See, Jesus solves all of this, but see, where the distraction kicks in is when you get so focused on all these other issues that you forget the most important issue. So again, come inside of the house and let's talk. If you disagree with a Christian, you can always persuade that Christian by showing them where, where. You know, what causes you to believe that? Is it something that Jesus said? Is it something that was said over here? Like what? And we can reason that way. But to just say, well, I disagree. See, now it's like you're exalting your own beliefs over that of Christ, and that should not be the case. We follow Christ. We don't follow politicians. We don't follow pundits. We don't follow celebrities. We don't follow cultural movements. We follow Christ. Your allegiance should be to Jesus, nothing else. Any other allegiance that you have in your life is an idol. So come in the house, and we'll talk about all these issues. So look, no matter who you are, I want you to know one thing. I love you, and that's the only reason I'm saying what I'm saying. Even if you disagree. But to all Christians, man, especially, man, look, we are family. Look, we may not agree on everything. We may not agree on everything, but look, we must understand that we are family, and we have a responsibility to one another. I have a responsibility to you, you have one to me. Yeah, so look, that's all I have to say for right now. But look, if you agree with me, stomp on that like button and drop kick that share button. But most importantly, make sure you subscribe and follow so you don't miss the next episode of The Deon Lundy Show. I'll see you next time.
It's the Deon Lundy Show. Don't act like you don't know. Just trying to keep it real. So I'm just trying to keep it real. So much you gotta say. So much I gotta say.